So another type of code is the written code. So this is the use of language style and textual layout. So if you remember earlier, one of the pictures I showed, the one in Baseco Tondo, the caption there was drug affected area. So if it's drug affected area, we know that we are already being impacted by a lot of negative things, okay, by media. And then this is the place that we want to avoid when we go to Manila, especially Tondo. Why? Because again, the media affects, or the way media use the written code to give us or to convey a message to us stakeholders. So this is the place that we do not want to go to when we go to Manila. So I'll give you another example. Okay. So here, okay, um, it's all the feels. All right. So this is what I'm not sure if you guys have watched this, but I watched this one. So it talks about a lot of emotions. Okay. So you'll laugh, you'll weep, you'll mourn an imaginary pink cotton candy elephant cat dolphin hybrid. Okay, so imagine that. So in short, it's like a roller coaster of emotions. Okay, so that's one of the written codes. Another is of course the headline. So for the headlines, that is that is for the part of the journalist. They think of something they think of a headline that would really capture your interest, so you buy that newspaper. That's part of again, one of the strategies in promoting, or one of the strategies to not only convey a message of this is the news, but also conveying a message that you buy me. Okay, you buy me, and then it gives income to, or profit to the producer of the newspaper. Okay. And there are also a lot of written codes all over social media, since we are very exposed to, especially Facebook. Okay, so for Facebook, we react. I'm not sure if you guys will admit it, but honestly speaking, sometimes we really react without really knowing the fact, or without knowing whose fault it is. We react if when we read something, say for example, if it's a loved one, okay, without really even investigating, or without really asking what happened, whose fault it is, who started. But because of what we read, and we are being impacted on of that, okay, then we get the message that I need to comfort my loved one. Okay, so and then you fight against that person without knowing that that person, or that the loved one of yours, is the one who started it. Usually it happens like that. You tend to know the fact at the end of this, at the end, and you start to regret it. So before we react on something, we have to know. That's actually one of the purposes of the media and information literacy. We need to be literate, okay? We need to be, we need to know. We need to be responsible when we react, or before we react, before we click on that like, before we click on that comment and bash a person, we need to know what is happening, what's behind that. Okay? So again, it directly hits our emotion. It's always our emotion. So let us not be controlled by our emotions. So the audience, producers, and other stakeholders, that's us. Okay, this is us. This is we receive. We are the ones where these messages are conveyed to. Okay, so this is us. So we react. Our feedback is based on how we decode the messages they convey to us. Okay, that's the feedback. We do not like it, we like it, okay, whether it's positive or whether it's negative. Again, the impact is from the way we decode the messages. So we really have to be very careful. We do not just believe what we see, okay? But because remember, some codes are subtle. So what we do is we really have to be responsible before we click. Be responsible before we comment. Be responsible before we post something, especially if that is against someone. All right? Um, be very careful with your um, your posts. So be very careful with what you read there. Okay? So we always be very careful with what we believe also. Because sometimes, again, because of these angles, remember the camera shots. Okay, we do not know what's really happening behind that. Okay, sometimes what we see is just the the part of the uh if you remember the one in with the iceberg, the one that is floating, and then the one deeper, or the ones under the water, it's there's really a bigger picture that we cannot see because the angle of the camera is only focused on one area. So before we comment, or before we say something about a specific post, we tend to look first to the bigger picture. Okay, what really happens? Okay? So let us not be controlled by our emotion, but we control our emotion when we use social media. Because again, social media is it is very powerful, um, especially when we use the written codes. It's very powerful. So we try to be very careful with how we used it. All right. So that's the end of our lesson for media and information languages. I will be tackling now your performance task. So please watch the next video. Thank you.